this week for me is the week before Halloween, so I'm going to be using this Bones plate. It's M159 from Maniology by Glitter Fingers, and it's got a bunch of very fun Halloweeny designs. I have already put a base coat on my nails and let that dry. And so I'm going to be working with this kind of pumpkin-y color called Chrysanthemum, and I'm using this blue glass slipper and green Opus 1. Those are just sort of accent colors that I'm going to be using. And tip here, open everything you're going to use before you get started, because once you have wet polish on your nails, it's a real pain in the neck to try to open everything. So I'm opening my top coats, I'm opening my white and my black because I'm going to use those too. Excuse me. I'm opening the sticky base coat. So I'm going to open everything up so that I don't have to mess with any of that after I get started. Once I've got everything open, I'm going to put a base coat of the pumpkin-y color Chrysanthemum, except for two nails that I'm going to do in green as accent nails. And then after I get that on, I'm going to put on Mani mask around my cuticles to keep my cuticles clean when I'm stamping. So I'm going to fast forward, make that happen really quick because it's not super exciting to watch me put base coats on. So with this manicure today, excuse me, I'm going to be doing some examples of reverse stamping, where we're going to stamp the image and then add color behind it so that you have multicolored images. So I'm getting my scraper, and I'm going to start with this one up here in the top left, which has like these eyeballs that are in a field of who knows what. They're eyeballs with like these twisty lines and stuff. So I'm going to stamp it in black. So I put the polish on, I scrape it, and then I'm going to take my stamper to pick it up, and you can see the image here on the stamper. And then when we reverse stamp it, we're going to actually put things on the back. So let me clean that off, scooch it out of the way. And what I wanted to do here was I was making the like irises of the eyeballs blue, and I was trying to make some of the background, the little viney things, green, but I found that they didn't really show up very well. There's enough black in the viney things that I would have just skipped that after having done it once. And then on top of the blue, I put white for the eyeballs. Also on the little vines where I had made them green, I go over the green with white because the green on top of the orange doesn't really show up very well. And so any color that you have that you're putting on top of a darker color, it helps to back it with white because that will make it actually show up. So you'll see me do that a number of times today as I do this reverse stamping. I'm using the daughter tools from Maniology, and I'm just putting some of the polish onto my silicone mat and picking it up with the daughter tool and kind of putting it where I want. Remember, since it's reverse stamping, essentially you're putting the color behind the outline, because when we flip this over and put it on the nail, that's going to be on the bottom. So you kind of have to work, as it indicates, in reverse. You got to go opposite from what you might normally think. You also want to be careful as you're doing this that you're just kind of lightly touching to it, and that you have enough polish on your daughter tool, because you don't want to pick up the outline from the stamper. So this is a little bit of a lengthy process. It takes some time to sit and put all of this on the stamper, and you kind of need it to dry in between layers. If you're putting anything on top of something else, you want that first color dry first, and before you put it on your nail, you want the entire thing dry. So a little tricky. Also, when you're reverse stamping, you need to use the or I would recommend using the sticky top coat, because since you're going to be putting this polish on dry, it needs your nail to be sticky so that they'll stick together. Whereas normally when you're just stamping one layer, you would do it quickly. The nail polish would still be wet on the stamper, and therefore it would stick to your nail. So let's see. Now I'm putting the white behind the green because I wanted the green to show up. Again, with this particular image, I would skip the green altogether on this next time, because there was too much black in the vines for the green even to really pop out. So it was a little bit of a waste of time, but that's something you learn by doing it once or twice. I'm going to make this happen a little faster now. So now, to see what the image is going to look like stamped, you just flip the stamper over and look at it from the other side, and then you can see what the image is going to look like on your nail. I'm setting that aside to dry because, again, I need that dry or else it'll smush in trying to put it on my nail, or some layers will come off but not all of them, and all in all, it just really needs to be dry. So now I'm going to do some other images. A number of these I'm going to be reverse stamping. I really like this kind of drippy slime image here, so I'm going to use that a couple of times. A few of the images that I do, I'm just going to stamp outright, but you'll see me doing both types of stamping here, just plain stamping and reverse stamping. At this point, I start putting on a top coat. I'm waiting for these last two reverse stamps to dry, but I'm using the streak-free or smudge-free top coat by Maniology, which you want to still be very light, and you want to make sure your nails are dry before putting it on. But lightly put it on, make sure there's plenty of polish on there so that you don't smear anything with the bristles. Okay, but after I put on that top coat, after it dries, then I'll also put on a coat of like an Opie or whatever, any other kind of top coat that you have, because the smudge-free one is water-based and it won't last as long. So if you really want to protect your nails, then you're going to need another coat of something else. All right, so last reverse stamp to put on here. This ended up being my favorite one of the nails I did today. It's got these green tentacles like from an octopus on it. And I'm just making sure the smudge-free stuff is dry, so waiting a second here, putting my other top coat on while I wait, and then I will get to the other in just a second here. All right, here we go. So I've got my tentacles, I line them up, and stamp them on, and when you have little edges, you just sort of use your finger to tap it in. Okay, so I'm going to get a top coat on all of this, and then I have some cleanup to do, pulling off the mani mask, and then we'll have a better idea of how this looks. So here's the final product. I'll still have a little bit of finish up work and cleaning to do with a brush, but I really like that one, the octopus nail there. That turned out pretty cool. And the slimy one, I like the slime. In general, pretty happy with this. Looking forward to Halloween. I hope everybody else is too. If you'll hit the like, subscribe, share. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know and I will be sure to answer them. Have a great day.